Welcome to Thinking Outside the Couch. I'm Dr. Larry Kuttner. In this episode, The Curse of PowerPoint. Many of the finest professional speakers I know refuse to use PowerPoint or other so-called speaker support media because it can interfere with both the message and the relationship between the speaker and the audience. And in many, if not most cases, they have a good point. Now, I'm not a Luddite. I'm fascinated by technology and use it in all sorts of ways. And I work with media of all types all the time. But the problem with most PowerPoint presentations in the business world is that the technology interferes with, rather than adds to, the power of a good speech. That's why I rarely use it unless I'm teaching a half-day or full-day workshop, or when I'm giving a presentation that relies on a lot of complex graphics, such as when I talk about our research on violent video games. Now, I also prefer Apple's Keynote to PowerPoint when I need this type of program, but that's another story. A few years ago, I gave a presentation to the senior executives of a corporate client in New York. I followed a consultant from Bain & Company, one of the big management consulting firms. His 45-minute presentation contained at least 100 PowerPoint slides, most with a chart or two, as well as text. For the most part, he read what was on the slides. It was completely mind-numbing. When he had finished, and I was introduced by the senior vice president, I walked over to the projector, put a book in front of the lens to block the light, and said, "For the next hour, I declare this a PowerPoint-free zone." The executives broke out into applause. Too many people, like this consultant from Bain, use PowerPoint and other speaker support media as crutches as they read from the slides. The audience, therefore, pays attention primarily to the visual images instead of the speaker and moves at its own pace. This means that the speaker has lost control of the audience. Another problem with PowerPoint and similar systems is that speakers get carried away with fancy visual transitions and sound effects. In fact, a few years ago, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff sent a memo to officers at the Pentagon asking them to stop using sound effects like explosions and cannon fire in their PowerPoint presentations. Things had simply gotten out of control. Speaker support media, whether it's a flip chart or a big screen video program, have their place, but only when they complement what the speaker is saying, not when they simply parrot it. I suggest you focus your speeches on useful content and good stories, and do them at first without any support materials. Only after you have a speech polished should you think about what might be gained if you added a bit of technology. You can find a lot more information at thinkingoutsidethecouch.com. I'm Dr. Larry Kuttner.